Hey everyone, and welcome. So, today we're going to be mapping out the plumbing of our economy. You can think of it a lot like a mighty, constantly flowing river of money. If you've ever caught yourself wondering how your own personal financial choices actually ripple out to affect the entire national income, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's break this all down through the lens of the two-sector model in this explainer. Okay, let's kick things off with a pretty fundamental macroeconomic tension. Think about this for a second. On an individual level, saving money is obviously the responsible thing to do, right? You earn your paycheck, and instead of just burning through every last cent, you stash a little bit away for a rainy day. But if we go back to our river analogy, taking water out in a bucket drops the overall water level. So we really have to ask, does this super responsible act of saving actually stall the entire engine of our national income? To get to the bottom of that, we first need to look at our baseline. What we're looking at right here is the fundamental two-sector circular flow. Now, in this highly simplified world, there are literally only two players on the board: households, so that's you and me, and firms. Households provide factor services, like our daily labor, to the firms. In return for that labor, firms pay us an income. Now, if we just turn right around and spend 100% of that income buying goods and services from those exact same firms, the money just flows back and forth in a perfect closed loop. The river's water level, it never changes. But let's be real. We don't live in a world where everyone spends exactly what they earn. Imagine you take a crisp 2,000 rupee note out of your wallet, money that just a moment ago was happily flowing along in that economic river. But you decide you aren't going to buy groceries or a new pair of shoes with it. No, instead of spending it, you hold on to it. You effectively put it right into a piggy bank. So here is the absolutely crucial point. This simple act of saving creates what economists call a leakage, or a withdrawal. By choosing not to spend that $2,000 on consumer goods, you are literally draining expenditure right out of the system. In our two-sector model, savings, which we represent with the letter S, is a leakage. And honestly, if this was the end of the story, the overall income flow in the economy would just constantly decline every single time someone decided to save a little cash. Eventually, we'd completely dry up the river. Thank goodness, though, that is definitely not the end of the story, because, most households don't actually just bury their savings in a literal piggy bank or shove it under a mattress. They deposit it into the capital market. You can see how institutions like banks, insurance companies, and mutual funds step in here. They act as this absolutely crucial financial bridge in our economy, literally connecting the people who have excess money with the people who desperately need it. Let's actually trace that exact 2,000 rupee note just to see this bridge in action. First, it leaves your wallet, so there's our savings leakage, which slows down the spending river. Next up, you deposit it into your bank, moving that cash securely onto the capital market bridge. Finally, and this is the magic part, the bank doesn't just sit there staring at your money, they turn around and lend that exact 2,000 rupees out to a factory so they can go buy some brand new machinery. And that brilliant little maneuver brings us to our next core concept, an injection. When firms borrow your saved money from the capital market to fund investment expenditure, which we represent with the letter I, they use it to buy capital goods like plants and machinery. This investment acts as a massive, powerful injection, pumping that $2,000 right back into our economic river and expanding the circular flow all over again. Now take a look at the three gauges here at the bottom. You can really think of these as the control room for our entire national income. They visually track exactly how the mechanics of this plumbing system balance out, all based on the tug-of-war between our savings leakages and our investment injections. Let's read the dials together. If savings are greater than investment, meaning way more money is leaking out into bank vaults than is actually being pumped back in as business loans, well, the overall income flow declines. Our river level drops. On the flip side, if investment outpaces savings, maybe firms are just borrowing heavily to build huge new factories, the overall income flow floods, pushing the level of income right up in the economy. Which brings us perfectly to the golden rule, the absolute sweet spot of economic equilibrium. For the circular flow to remain stable, total planned investment must equal total household saving. S equals I. When those piggy bank deposits perfectly equal the machine loans, the contraction we get from saving is exactly 100% offset by the expansion we get from investment. And just like that, the river level stays perfectly balanced. So, we've seen how the capital market acts as the ultimate plumber, right? It fixes the two-sector leakage by transforming your household savings into real business investments. But our real world is quite a bit messier than just households and firms, isn't it? What actually happens to this delicate, perfectly balanced river when we introduce the government coming in to collect taxes, or the rest of the world suddenly buying our exports and telling us imports? How many more leakages and injections can this plumbing system actually handle before it breaks? Well, that is exactly the kind of puzzle you should be wondering about as we wrap up this explainer. Keep that curiosity flowing, and I'll catch you next time.